Hello everyone, do you like to go on scary quests? I am very strong, but do you know what are the scariest quests in the world and what they look like? Let us see. Enjoy watching. Ghost Manor. This quest was created by Russ McCamey and Carol, his girlfriend. It is held in San Diego in the USA and cannot be compared with any other quest in terms of the amount of adrenaline. The total duration of the performance is 8 hours, but none of the visitors have yet been able to complete it. Visitors are tied up here, put in cages infested with snakes and spiders, doused with fake blood, frightened with eerie sounds and lights. In general, all human fears are used. Inside there are 4 rooms, each containing the most hardcore extreme torture devices, and the emphasis is on the interactive so that every visitor can test himself. The entire adventure is recorded on camera and broadcast on a display through which the player is observed from outside the building. Russ and Carol do not limit their imagination and come up with a different plot every year, but are inspired by their films, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho and Haunted House. It has already cost $500,000 to create and maintain the quest, but the couple will beat them off with ease. The queue for the quest is 24,000 people, and only 2 are allowed in at a time. Butcher-ass shop. Imagine that you went into a butcher-ass shop to buy something for dinner, but the seller seemed suspicious to you. He looks too creepy and asks indecently a lot of frankly creepy questions. And when you paid and were about to leave, it suddenly turned out that the door was locked. Raw meat, blood, incomprehensible sounds were all around, and behind you was a butcher. BRR. The total playing space occupies 2 floors, i.e. 350 square m. There are not so many logical puzzles in the quest, but a lot of interactive, professional actors and fear haunts players from the first to the last minute. In general, if you want to run, scream and cry for a couple of months in advance, you are here. Hut. The plot is quite simple. You and your friends go to nature, settle down in a clearing and go to collect firewood. Harmless? Yes. But the action is structured so that when you get enough, the sun has already set. You will get lost and come across the forest-rest hut yourself. You will have 80 minutes to decide whether to stay or leave, and don't ask why it takes so long. The actors and special equipment will make you so creepy that you and the company will not be able to think normally. Everything will be quite safe and clean, but no less frightening. All actors will appear inaudibly. They will not scream and attack. You yourself will scream. And no one knows how it will all end. All games have a different ending. Scary Tale. Have you seen the movie Inkheart? This quest is built in much the same way, only with elements of Russian folklore. Don't expect any frightening zombies or ghouls, but be sure, our Russian characters will scare you just as well. Locations that are built and decorated in such a way that one gets the feeling that you have fallen under the cover of a book also make their contribution. So we highly recommend it to book lovers. There will be no classic horror, only mechanisms that work at the most unexpected moment, humor and psychological tension that does not subside. If it seems to you that all this sounds too simple, then try to pass, and you will be convinced of the opposite. Kikimora and Kache are suitable not only for scaring the kids. Pet. Before the start of the game, all participants are invited to watch a short film about a talented veterinarian who opened his own veterinary clinic. Together with his wife, he finds and treats animals. Everything is going well, but one evening the doctor finds his wife dead. She was raped and killed. Who did this is unknown. Since then the veterinarian has gone crazy, and for some reason an eerie childish voice began to sound within the walls of the clinic. Already interesting, right? Further, it is even more interesting. The veterinarian himself finds the killer and drags him to the clinic to make an animal out of him. For what? To protect his little daughter, Lisa. A lot of time has passed since that moment. Lisa has grown old and died, but the monster is still alive, and the child's voice does not stop sounding. The task of the players is not to become a dinner for the pet, and for this the whole game must be spoken in a whisper and maintain a certain tone. I've been working in a quest room for about a year. Once the guy took out a knife and literally cut a hole in the wall. I am talking about a real combat knife that he pulled out of his boot. And yes, he had to make amends. A woman dragged one of our desk safes across 2 rooms because by then the team didn't know the code yet, although they could have left it in place and come back when they figured it out. One woman took a drill out of her purse and exclaimed that she was about to get everyone outside. We had to intervene and explain to her that solving puzzles and exploring the room is much more interesting. I have been working in escape rooms for almost 3 years. The theme of one of them is Western and Gold Rush. There is a broom in the room, which is a clue. It says can, which is a nod to the images of can dancers on the wall. Once 5 young women came to the quest room. At some point they stalled, so I hinted that they needed to read the writing on the broomstick and see if it had anything to do with their environment. For some reason, they decided that they all needed to join hands and dance can in the middle of the room for 2 minutes in the hope that some door would open. The women only stopped when I let them know that their dancing would not affect anything. One of our quest rooms is a saloon. There are several bottles of supposedly alcohol, but in fact with tinted water. We explained to each group that the bottles do not need to be touched, since the liquid in them is more than a year old. But one guy disobeyed and drank the water. Yes, he threw up. Fortunately, he managed to get to the restroom.